Obviously they've incentivized us, with the 500K and whatnot, for anybody, that's obviously when money's on the line, I feel like, you're going to get, people's best shot and whatnot, but just the little intricacies of it, with the colored courts, the different type of the ball and whatnot, I feel like it's just more of a fan attraction to the game, more of an appeal to it, because they know it means more. And to kind of have that playoff type environment early in the season, obviously it's great for viewership, it's great for, I think it's great for the integrity of the game at that, you don't really have a real drop off, a real break, as you're trying to adjust in the beginning of the season.
What did you think of that green court?
I'm not mad at it. It looks a lot better than yellow.
It really did feel like a breakout game for you. In every game, you seem to get more and more comfortable. Can you talk about where your head is at right now with this team?
It's obviously it's going to be an adjustment period. As this first part of the season and whatnot. Giannis is a special type of player and requires so much attention and whatnot. So it's just being at the right spot at the right time. When to cut. When to space the floor. When to roll. When to pop. All that type of stuff is stuff I'm continuing to watch a bunch of film on and work on for myself.
Doc had said he looked at some numbers and thought you were rolling a little less than normal, and he's like, did we kind of mess Myles up a little bit? He's like, so it was kind of message was BU. So I guess, was that the message? What was that kind of background, and then how did that translate to today?
Yeah, I think it was. We both agreed on that. I was watching film of the first 7-8 games, whatever it was, and I brought attention, to my workout guy, my personal coach, Jason Love. I told him that I feel like I got to be able to mix it up a little bit more. So I feel like the coaches, they got together, they talked about it, and we was both on the same page of like, love shooting threes, love spacing the floor, but it can't be the only thing I do out there. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm able to, to get on the rim. I'm able to, mix up my mid-range as well. So just finding more ways to get to it.
Go ahead.
I was say, is it kind of cool that even though that was the goal, you still ended up having the most threes that you've had in a game? You know what I mean? Like that the game can work like that.
That's the beauty of it. I feel like again, it's just never going to stop me doing for what I do. But at the same time, it's just finding more and more ways to be effective. Because once you start hitting threes and whatnot, now you're able to get downhill. Now you're able to get to where you want to be because you're so worried about your 3-point shooting. So again, every night's going to be different. There's going to be nights where smaller guys on me, nights where guys put their threes or twos on me, and just continue to keep mixing up, figuring it out.
Did you go into the season knowing there'd be a little adjustment process, switching teams for the first time, or is anything about these first several games caught you off guard at all?
No, I had to go into with that. I'm a perfectionist. I really am. I'm someone who demands a lot of myself. So, I coming into an environment like this, doing things I've never done before. Of course, I expect better for myself. But at the same time, I did have to give myself some grace, and a lot of that comes from my family, comes from my circle. It's just, it's telling me that sometimes you got to take a step back and just allow yourself to transition. I think that's been big for me. It's great that I have such a great support system, behind me. But Again, I'm just doing something the same way, for 10 years. It's obviously going to take a little bit of time, and hopefully not too much time. Not like tonight was great, but consistency is the name of the game.
That perfectionism, that goes really well with somebody else. Are you guys still figuring that out between the two of you, or is that chemistry building with every game?
It's building. Because I'm starting to find. I can't remember last time I threw a lob to somebody. You know what I mean? And that happened last game and whatnot. It just happened just within the flow of the game, and just figuring out where he wants to be on the floor, where he wants the ball, and vice versa. And it's always great when he's vocal and he speaks. He tells me, "Hey, I need you in this spot right here. Hey, I need you ready to shoot the ball." A lot of that was able to translate into tonight's game. So again, it's a relationship that's it's growing. I think that we both have the same goal in mind at the end of the day, and I think we are very, very like-minded at that.
What are you kind of thinking on a night where, like, I would tell Giannis to his face, like, you struggled for the first 3 quarters, and he ends with 41. Like, just like getting to play with him and see that, like, kind of, I don't know, greatness, whatever you want to say. Like,
I feel like it's so tough, man, because someone like himself, he'll have a game like tonight, and it'll just go unnoticed in the league, in my opinion, because people are so used to him putting up these type of stat lines, and it's crazy to me. It's something like you won't really appreciate it until it's gone, type of thing, and 10, 15, whatever wants to retire years from now, when that's gone, you're not going to see a lot of players like Giannis, so you definitely have to appreciate the greatness that's unfolding in front of you every single night. For me, obviously, playing against him was one thing, but seeing his work ethic, it makes sense why he's, the way that he is and how he puts up the stat line that he puts up. So, it's definitely an honor, to be his teammate and whatnot. I saw an amazing stats tonight, most 40-point games in franchise history. It's great stuff.